He, M35, bought a boat and I'm, 32F, raging mad over it. How do I explain my reasoning?
Edit 1. Because a lot of you are going off of assumptions.
The house is in his name and his name only because we aren't married and to eliminate the horror stories of buying a home with a GF boyfriend in the event of the split.
We both own other properties.
I own my own home and he has a rental.
We don't want to combine assets until we're married to avoid confusion.
He can afford the mortgage on this house while I pay mine until I get a renter. Everything, and I mean all furniture in this 4-bed, 4-bath is mine.
So he would literally be house poor if I took it all.
The purpose of the house is for a future for us, so I will go on the deed once marriage occurs, and that was a conversation we had about us. He'd have to sell it if I left cuz he can't fill it and it'd be too big for him alone. Significant other having said that, I'm not a gold digger nor am I on a free ride cuz he would literally be sleeping on the carpet in this big ass house.
Hard to believe I actually have assets and a safety net, huh? It's not about the money or the boat itself.
That's literally what I am trying to say.
Now back to why I'm upset. To start, we've, M35, F32, been dating over 4 years. We just bought a house big enough for a future family, etc. in April. We are not engaged, we are simply boyfriend and GF. I'd like to get married and start on kids before my eggs are fried, therefore, we've discussed and agreed on expectations. Our finances are separate until marriage, so he pays the bills RN cuz the home is in his name until marriage as well. Anyway, last week or 2 ago, he went fishing on a friend's boat for the first time in over 2 years.
After asking me what I thought about getting a boat, I stated we didn't need one.
Which we don't. Well, he snuck around and bought a boat a week later and I am livid over it.
He knew I'd be upset but thought it was a, she just doesn't want me to have a boat, reason when that isn't true. No, the boat didn't come out of my money. No, he doesn't need my permission.
No, it's not unaffordable.
It's not about the boat itself or the money.
I would have been fine with this purchase at a later date or after more discussion.
It's the principle that he's quick to want to purchase expensive ass shit, but I'm still playing house with no ring on my finger.
Which for RN is fine, but without the blatant purchase of a boat.
We had a huge blow-up fight over it. He doesn't see my point of view and I don't feel like I'm giving it justice or even making sense because I'm so angry. We've discussed marriage at length, ring shopping, etc., timelines at length, so it's not a topic we avoid. That's just the bigger issue of a few small ones. Coming from a townhouse, with no garage, I was excited to have a garage to have an area to do new hobbies in or maybe work out in at some point. He knows this. Well, now that's he's put the boat in the garage, it's filled to the brim with majority of his stuff and half the garage is now inaccessible. I never wanted a full-ass garage and we're only a month into the house. I now have to look at this huge item that I see as a slap in the face and I am angry all over again. I'm so angry and frankly hurt because I don't feel like my thoughts, feelings, or desires were taken into account. His thought process is that if he's purchasing it, with his money, and it's not affecting how we live, why should I care? With no room for feelings or emotions in between. I mean, this is why you discuss big purchases with your partner, right? I just don't understand why he had to have the boat now and not after discussing the deeper reason I'd be upset over the purchase and the garage space, etc. Had we had more discussion around it and understanding, then it could have been something we both could have enjoyed. Instead, I just see it a big-ass boat of resentment on my end and a strong hate. I'm still fuming mad. I'd like to know if I'm overreacting and if requesting he put it in storage is unreasonable. Before you comment, please don't overgeneralize my man based on this decision. I'm incredibly pissed at him, but he's a good man overall. You know the expression, if he wanted to, he would. That's what's bugging you. He wanted the boat. He got the boat. So simple. If he wanted to get you a ring and get engaged, he would. Don't play house with him. You're not married to him, so why are you acting like a wife to him? Well, this isn't about the boat, emo. It's not even about the garage space. It's about the fact that you're thinking in terms of a committed lifelong partnership, and he's spending what you see as communal funds and space like a bachelor. Who knows which one of you is right based on this limited context? But, if the bottom line is, you're disappointed that boat wasn't shaped like an engagement ring, then just say that. Be completely honest with him, and yourself, about why this bothers you so much and have the tough conversation now versus allowing resentment to fester.
We just bought a house. He bought a house. Not you.
You're not married or engaged.
He wants to keep his finances separate and doesn't feel he needs to consult you about big purchases.
He may be a good man, but he's not acting like a man who is in any hurry to move forward to marriage and commitment with you.
Keep that in mind as you make your decisions for the future.
You're not married.
You have separate finances.
He asked your opinion on the boat.
Not your permission. He even went out of his way to make sure you have no stake in the house you live in. It's his house. Not yours.
You have no say over what's in the garage.
It's his money. Not yours to have a say in.
Money obviously isn't the reason he hasn't proposed yet. Sorry, but you seem to misunderstand your role in this situation.
This purchase isn't your business. Yes, normal relationships discuss these things with your partner.
You're not a partner and he has made sure of that through everything you've written here.
His words might be saying, we.
But his actions aren't. Open your eyes.
Just to be clear, you're not married or engaged, share no kids, he owns the home, and you don't pay rent.
And you think you can be mad that he bought a boat? LMAO.
Now, if you're mad that you're not married or on the way to kids yet, then make the argument about that. You have every right to tell him to piss or get off the pot. And when he doesn't piss, you need to leave. But you've got no right to argue with him about the boat.
Give that up.
My 25F fiancé, 28M, left me over religion.
Is this salvageable? My 25F fiancé, 28M, had been together and lived together for 5 years.
We have been through so much together and I can't imagine my life without him. He was the best boyfriend, would spoil me and treat me with respect and so much love.
He proposed to me 1 week ago with a beautiful emerald ring, as the color green has much symbolism to our relationship.
Throughout our relationship, we have not followed any kind of religion, but we talked about joining a church one day that felt right for us both.
It just never happened until recently.
5 months ago, he started school again, which is online. He went from full-time to casual with his job, to be able to attend school and study. He works maybe once per month now. I am a full-time nurse and have been paying for everything. His school is very easy, so he actually has a lot of free time during the day. He's been working on finding a new job. But ever since he's been at home not working, he started reading the Bible. And talking about it a lot. At first I thought nothing of it, and I was excited to start reading it with him and join a church with him. We had always talked about it, so I figured okay, now it's finally happening. He read the entire Old Testament in 2 weeks.
Then, all he talked about was religion.
He didn't speak of anything else. He forced me to watch 2 movies about Jesus, read Bible scriptures, and listen to Christian music. At this point I told him he needs to slow down a bit. He's only been into religion for 2 weeks, and he's already made it his whole personality.
He stopped having sex with me after 5 years of doing it nearly every day because, Jesus is watching, he began to change as a person too, being overly nice. For example, he ordered an iced coffee at McDonald's, and when the cashier gave it to him, he said, "Oh my gosh.
Look at that. That looks amazing.
You are significant other good at your job. Thank you significant other much."
That's just one of many examples. She frowned at him and walked away.
It started to seem like he was actually trying to be Jesus.
Mind you, it's only been 3 weeks of starting religion. He changed his lock screen from me to Jesus. I was his lock screen for 5 years, so that was alarming for me. He started to play Christian music non-stop, and listen to podcasts about religion on top of reading the Bible.
He also started making religious Facebook posts multiple times per day, to the point where my friends asked me if he was okay because they said they felt like they were watching a manic episode unfold.
He was not even focusing on school anymore.
Then he found a church and started going to it.
He made tons of church friends. In his phone, their contact names had tons of emojis next to them. My contact name, his new fiancé and girlfriend of 5 years, had no emojis. We were supposed to start going to church together and find a church together, so I was kind of upset when he just chose for us both. Still, I wanted to support him, so I went to the church with him. I felt so out of place.
The pastor and elders kept asking me tons of questions. I felt like I was being probed.
The women kept telling me to have babies that will follow Christ as well. It felt like I was joining a cult. My boyfriend was loving every second of it, though.
It was so weird because he seemed to be more into the religion than anyone else there, despite the fact that they've been invested in it their whole lives.
The next day all he would talk about was church. He wanted to get a job there, and start going every day. I was starting to feel like it was taking over our lives and his personality. So I told him that.
His response was, "What's wrong with that? What bad could come out of it?" I said, "I just want to ease into it," but he's diving in head first.
We had a huge argument. I was at work. He left the apartment to go somewhere 4 hours away. He told me he didn't spend any money to get there, and that his friend picked him up. I later found out that he took the train and did spend money. So he lied, not very Christian of someone who makes it their whole personality. I told him this makes him a hypocrite, leaving his fiancée in a time of turmoil, and lying. When I called him out on that, he blocked me. I later saw photos of him out with his friends drinking. He calls my friends degenerates when his own friends are cokeheads and in and out of jail. When he finally came home, he never took any accountability for lying or leaving. He told me, "Of course I'd choose God over you," and said I was the one who pushed him away and stomped on his heart. I have done so much to help him in life. I literally pulled him out of the gutter. I asked him how can he throw away 5 years of amazing memories and love together for something he's only been into for 3 weeks. He says it's because God healed him and I didn't. Honestly, I was willing to join the religion with him, I just had asked him to tone it down. He told me that I needed to find a new place to live immediately because I am now standing in his way, and that he already got roommates to take my spot. From the church, of course. I took all of my money, he has nothing. $0 to his name. I said, "How are you going to pay rent with no job or money?" He told me he was fine for money, the church would take care of everything for him. But after he said that, he applied for a 4K credit card. I feel like I am being thrown away like a piece of trash. 3 weeks ago he was totally normal. Now, he's done a complete 180. I told him to get psychiatric help but he refuses. He says I am the one who needs psychiatric help, and to be saved by God. He says all my friends and family corrupted me by making me realize he was going crazy. I am in shock and devastated. We just got engaged and we're so in love, he was the best partner. I miss him so much and our life together. We've been through so much. So good to me. My family wants nothing of him anymore. Should I try to salvage this? And what if he does come around and realize what a mistake he made? Should I take him back? Take this as an opportunity to run. You are dodging a bullet. You probably missed red flags, but he's not joining a church, but a cult. If you stay and marry him, you'll become secondary in the relationship. I am sorry you are going through this, but move on from him. He chose a religious cult over you. Update me. Wow, this is a lot. In the off chance that he snaps out of it, I'd be weary of getting back with him because the next religion he tries may consume him like this did. Don't get me wrong. I am Christian, born and raised. And even I was cringing all that you're describing. I get being excited and wanting to share the Lord with your family, but man, this doesn't look good. And it does sound cultish, gosh. I've seen this before and you are probably best to cut your losses with the relationship. At least you didn't marry him because when I have seen this, the divorces were bitter. He sounds mentally unstable. Do you think he began doing drugs with his friends? It certainly sounds like he is in a manic state. Did you tell his parents, family? There's something seriously wrong with him, I wouldn't even rule out brain injury. Of course, it's hard to get someone evaluated when they think there's nothing wrong with them. Let his family know he has a mental breakdown, traumatic brain damage, brain tumor, or something along those lines. You cannot do more than that, since right now you're just the devilish woman who wants to distance him from his newfound obsession. This feels like it might be a manic episode. My girlfriend, 24F, insists I, 23M, prioritize her over my sick mother. What's her problem? Hey everyone, I need some serious advice. I've been dating my girlfriend, Anna, for about a year, and things were going well until recently.
My mother has been diagnosed with a serious illness. Unfortunately, it's cancer, and she's currently undergoing chemotherapy.
Naturally, I've been spending a lot of time caring for her, driving her to appointments, and just being there for her emotionally and physically.
Anna has always been somewhat demanding of my time, but I didn't think much of it until now.
She's become increasingly upset, saying that I'm neglecting her and that she should be my top priority. She expects our relationship to come first, even over my mother's illness. She says she understands that my mom is sick, but she still expects me to spend as much time with her as I did before. She's even suggested that I cut back on the time I spend with my mom and hire a caregiver instead. I don't have the money for a caregiver, and even if I did, I want to be there for my mom during this tough time. When I try to explain this to Anna, she accuses me of not loving her enough and says things like, "If you really cared about me, you'd find a way to balance both." She started giving me ultimatums, saying if I don't make more time for her, she'll leave me. It's gotten to the point where she's making passive-aggressive comments whenever I mention my mom. Like, "I guess I'll just have to wait until your mom is done with you," or, "Do I need to get sick to get some attention around here?" I'm torn because I love Anna, but I also feel a strong responsibility to my family. This whole situation is causing a lot of stress, and I feel like I'm being forced to choose between my girlfriend and my sick mother. Honestly, what's her issue? She has no empathy and is completely selfish. You should be grateful she's showing her true colors after only a year and you haven't wasted a decade before finding out what she's like. If my wife pulled this shit, I'd be looking into getting a divorce. GF? Call me Neo, cause I'm dodging that bullet. Her issue is her boyfriend doesn't stand up to her, so she's used to getting her way, no matter how ridiculous she is being. I love you, but I am well and truly sick of this childish behavior. You are not in competition with my mother is seriously ill. Taking care of her while she is going through chemo is more of a priority to me than making sure you feel you are receiving enough attention. That's how things will be for the time being. And if you cannot handle that, and insist on continuing to make things harder for me with your selfish, demanding behavior, then we should stop seeing one another for the time being, if not permanently. Her issue is that she's selfish and not emotionally mature enough to handle an adult relationship. Dump Anna, take care of your mother. You only get one mother, my dude, and if you choose Anna over your mother, you will live to regret it. Yay, she's not the one. If anything, she should be willing to help care for her. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone so selfish. Take this as a sign and leave. I, 29F, think my husband, 31M, is hinting that he's into pegging. What should I do? Hello everyone. I have been married to my husband for about 4 years now. My husband for the past few months have been joking off and on about butt stuff, or shoving stuff up his butt, or he licking his butt. Yesterday he was laying on the floor and asking me to scratch his legs, and he was seeming like he was trying to position himself to have his ass close to my face. I feel like he's indirectly trying to ask for me pegging or oral butt stuff. How do I bring this up to him? Do you guys also feel like he's hinting that he wants to try it? I feel like it's an awkward conversation for us to have. Our sex life is pretty vanilla. Thanks in advance. Just communicate. Sit him down, stare into his eyes and say, "Honey, do you want me to tickle your booty with the penetrator from Saints Row? Be honest." If he says, "God yes, I have been waiting for you to ask that beautiful question." Bingo, there you go. If he says, "Lord have mercy Jolene. How could you say such a thing?" Good chances are he's playing around. Jokes aside, a direct serious conversation is the best method. When it comes to sex, beating around the bush is very ineffective in figuring out what each other wants. Could be your sex life is very vanilla because you two have never actually sat down to discuss what you each might enjoy in the bedroom. How do you feel about it? That is important info for how to address it. If it's something you want to try, just ask him next time he brings it up if it's something he'd like to do. If it's something you're not open to, you need to tell him it makes you uncomfortable when he says it. You should be able to talk about sex with whoever you're having it with. It's less awkward than just not knowing. Peg him. Fuck him senseless. Hey baby, I've noticed you talking more and more about X stuff. What is it that you're thinking about? Is it just a fantasy or a goal, etc.? Then he has to do the work being extra clean and enemas and stuff. if he wants you to do that. Thank the Almighty God and fuck that ass.